What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey for another episode of On the Scene, brought to you by MBT Bank, our great sponsor. And I am with the company 2020 Media, who produces this event or this podcast. We reach over 250,000, that's 250,000 readers throughout Southern New England Jewish Ledger, weha.com, and West Hartford Magazine, live 24/7, 365. So again, thanks for tuning in today. And remember to support not only our guests, who Bob will introduce you to in a moment, but our presenting sponsor, MBT Bank. Hey, Bob.
Good morning, Tom. Thanks, Tom.
Happy New Year, I guess we should say. Right?
That's right. Happy New Year. That's absolutely true. So Tom Hickey is the partner in weha.com, along with myself, Kosa Makati, and Ronnie Newton. Tom is president of 2020 Media and brings to our area West Hartford Magazine, the Connecticut Jewish Ledger, the best of West Hartford, coming up on its 10th year anniversary, the various tastes of West Hartford, and many other exciting events, such as our guest today, Gary McKinstry. Gary is a medium and will be performing at Warehouse 635 on Tuesday, the 9th of 2024 at 6 p.m. That is sponsored by Udolph Properties and Sheehan Hillborn Funeral Home, and as a fundraiser for APK Charities. It's the longest introduction I've ever done.
Very good, Jonathan. Very good.
Gary has an extensive resume and a set of credentials, and I'm going to read them off here. He's a doctor of philosophy and religion, an ordained minister, a certified tarot reader, a certified hypnotherapist, a paranormal specialist, a master mason at the Quinnebog Masonic Lodge in Massachusetts, and he has helped police and as a medium and as a paranormal. So, Gary, the initial question is, how did you follow such a unique path?
Well, no one, as a child, no one says, gee, when I grow up, I'm going to be a psychic. It doesn't work that way. You kind of fall into it. In my case, it was something if you want to call it a gift, I don't know if it's gift, curse, whatever, but it's something that I've been gifted with since I was young. I didn't fall off a truck and hit my head. I didn't, I'd love to tell you a great story that I got struck by lightning or, Well, it didn't happen that way. It was a natural gift. And it was kind of funny because at one time I owned a retail store and I had more customers coming in to catch me in the aisle to ask me questions than selling product. Mm-hmm. So after a while, I was like, okay, well, wait a minute, let's do this. And my wife encouraged me, and we took that giant leap and said, this is who I am and what I do. And plus, when I was a kid, look, I'm not a child. I was born in the 50s. So back then you didn't run around telling people, hey, I could talk to dead people, because they pretty much lock you up somewhere. Along came the 80s, cable television came in, and suddenly there were mediums on all of these talk shows, all of these places, the radio. So it was okay. It became more fashionable. I could come out of the closet, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it all started. I've always had a fascination, if you want to call it, for the paranormal. I always want to know what's behind the curtain. And that led me to, that's the studies. Even when you talked about the degree in religion, my major focus was the Enochian race, the race of fallen angels. I mean, by the way, just to let you know, that degree doesn't do you a whole lot of good in a job search. So,
it sounds good, Gary. It sounds good. Yeah,
it's wonderful, but you don't get a whole lot of calls going, I think there's a fallen angel in my backyard. Can you help me out? So
right. The movie Michael. He wasn't quite. He was an archangel, but he was
okay. Yeah. He's one of the good guys. Okay,
one of the good guys. You use the term paranormal and medium, and is there a unique difference, or is there the same, or the question?
Look, paranormal is just the research of things that aren't considered quote unquote normal in our everyday life. It could be anything from a miracle to, everybody looks at the negative when you hear the term paranormal. There's a ghost in my house. This has happened. Things are moving. That's lovely. But we mentioned, actually, you mentioned we talked a little bit about the religious part, and theoretically, religion is paranormal because you're believing in something that isn't in your everyday normal life. So the study of the paranormal just means things beyond our sight, sound, and normal senses. That's all.
Okay.
For television's sake, paranormal has become a catchphrase for everything spooky and macabre.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, if you're walking down the street, you find $100 bill and you say, hey, that wasn't there before, that's paranormal. So, that's how it works.
Gotcha.
Gary, was there any one thing, one experience that you could point to, when you decided that, gee, I better start sharing this, gift, with others? Or was it just like you said, a series of things while you were working in retail and people just kept asking you, questions?
No, literally, there was a lady that came to see me, and her son had passed in a rather horrendous accident. And by the way, I do not profess to provide closure for everyone, but I managed to give her the first step to getting help to get closure. She came to see me. I gave her some information that as she put it, there's no way you would have known that. And I strongly suggested for her to either talk to clergy or to join a group. There are a lot of great grief support groups out there.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman was fighting her grief by herself, all alone. So it opened the door so I could say, hey, look, here's a support group. Here's a support system. And later on, she came back to thank me, said, I was lost. And again, I do not profess that I saved her. That's not the deal. But maybe I was that little wedge that opened a door for her to get help. And that's and I felt good about it, And just to let you know, no offense, but some people on the other side are rather entertaining. Like, if you're the person who's wearing a lampshade at the party here, don't you think if you hit the other side, whatever you consider heaven is, that you're still going to be wearing that lampshade?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be just as whacked there as you are here.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
There are times when I have to tone it down a bit. Some people, if I'm doing, let's say, a large event and it's a group setting, you really don't want to come across with anything improper,
Mm-hmm.
So I do have to edit on occasion.
So I'm sorry, Tom.
No, go back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, the thought is then, when you're at an event, someone comes to one of your events, comes to see you. What should they expect their experience to be?
First of all, hopefully they won't be bored, because my wife Virginia, tend to be rather entertaining. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't sing and dance, okay, but I give people pretty much a glimpse into the other side. Beyond that, there are some stories, hopefully, that will intrigue or fascinate people. It's not, I'll use the term, it's not dry. Mm-hmm. I was doing an event. It was for the Elks up here up in Massachusetts, and it was at a country club, and it was a dinner thing. And we had about 100 people in, and it was a lovely night. So I usually take a break after about an hour, and I'm walking to the men's room. A gentleman came up to me and he said, he said, I want to tell you something. He says, you're really not that funny. And I says, okay, I'm not a comedian. Oh, he said, well, my wife told me if I come to this dinner show that I could go golfing on Saturday. So I'm here. She told me it was a comedy show. I said, look, I'm a medium. I talk to dead people. He said, in that case, you're really good.
Oh, that's funny. Oh my God. All right,
So
so it was sort of, I was going to ask sort of the same question, Bob, that you just did to Gary. When we're bringing you, Gary, you in Virginia, to WeHa, to West Hartford, Connecticut,
yep,
on Tuesday, January 9th. We're going to try in the location to keep it to a smaller crowd. When I say
yep,
small, I mean 50 or so, people, because we feel as though it's more quote unquote manageable and might
yep,
be easier for you. The other thing, I'm so glad that we've done this, because coming off of all of these holidays that we just had in the month of December, that terrible 5-letter word, COVID,
yeah,
reared its ugly head again, and so many people, we're stricken with it, once again. So we're just trying to keep the social distancing and and all of that in place. So when people buy their tickets to support APK Charities, a Connecticut nonprofit veteran group, and they come at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. Uh, I don't know. Are they going to be? I've never seen you before, so am I going to be Should I be nervous? Should
I
I?
will. Oh, no.
What
The
should
funny
we
thing,
expect? Yeah.
I wouldn't be nervous, but I would. And by the way, I would go. Some people come to my shows not so much to get a reading, but I think they enjoy the stories. You
Mm,
know,
mm,
when it comes down to if I'm reading for someone else, we all have people we relate to.
mm,
And I'll guarantee you, before the evening's over, you're gonna someone, everyone's gonna relate to someone in the audience and say, "Hey, that could be my cousin, that could be my aunt, that could be,
mm,
or here's a." Sometimes people get a message and they don't even expect to get a message.
mm,
So that's kind of how it works.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
Uh, by the way, just to let the audience know, I have been in that area before. I did an event at the Mark Twain House
Oh, great.
down in Harvard.
Yeah.
Lovely place. We did it. That was a charity event too. And by the way, I want to let people also know that I'm very happy to be doing this in connection with APK. Uh, I come from an Army family. My father was 10th Mountain Division, World War II.
Oh my goodness.
Um, they're now designated as special forces. Back then, they were just a group. So, you know, it goes deep. Uh, we were kind of ingrained on the military when we were kids.
Mm,
I come from that time period where the draft ended, nobody joined, and that there was that golden time when it didn't seem like we were in a major conflict anywhere.
mm, mm.
And then by the time things really happened, I got too old. They don't want me anymore, you know. But again, they have a good mission,
Mm.
and even if you don't like me, you should go anyway and support them. Okay,
Well,
don't get me wrong. I want everybody to like me. That's great, but
yeah.
I am not the Long Island medium. If anybody's seen the show,
Oh God, yes, I have.
um, I love the lady. I think she's very entertaining. My style is a bit more down to earth. Uh, the other part is I try to be as, how could I put it, factual as possible.
Mm.
If Granny comes in saying there's a coffee can buried in the backyard and it's got $100 bills in, I want to call after to know if you found the can. I don't want the money. We've had several.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a lady up in Northampton that came to see me. Her husband had passed, and he was a really wonderful guy. He ran a machine shop, and he was an excellent machinist, but he was terrible at taking care of business.
Mm.
Well, he had stuffed 10 grand in an envelope and hid it. She didn't know about it. And she came to see me, and he came through going, "There's 10 grand back at the shop in the messy desk. When you find it, think Vegas, baby." And that's exactly how I delivered it. And she said, "Well, we've checked the desk, couldn't find it." He said, "Check again." 2 days later, we got a phone call from her sister going, "I'm booking a flight to Vegas."
Wow. Unbelievable.
I guess there was 9,500. He spent a little. Excuse me.
Close enough.
We're just fine. She's pretty happy with me,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not all that fun or dramatic. So, I mean, by the way, some of it's heartfelt.
Mm, mm,
If you had a minute to come through to someone, let's say, God forbid, you passed and you could get a message to the family, sometimes it could be elegantly simple,
mm, mm.
The other day I had a lady I was reading for, and her husband came through to say he could put his pants on.
Oh,
And for you and I, that sounds like nothing. to her, it meant the world because the gentleman had cancer and it got to the point where he couldn't bend to put his pants on and they put sweatpants on him.
Mhm.
And he absolutely was horrified about, like, I should be in my jeans and I can't put my pants on and I don't feel like a man. So the first thing he said was, honey, I can put my pants on. To her, it meant the world.
Mm.
To you or I, I'd be like, so what?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the simplistic parts that really mean things to people, And no, I don't go around telling everybody, oh, I can put my pants on,
The other thing, Gary, that made me think of on, when we get together for this event, Tuesday the 9th, in West Hartford. And by the way, I'll give a little selfish plug. The tickets are still available on eventbrite.com. But Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, but not everyone, you don't get a vibe or a read or a feel from everyone, right? So
it's almost like the loudest in the crowd.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Or the person, sometimes it's not about loud, but sometimes the person who truly needs it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually at the end of the night, I'm going to walk away going like, if I did, let's say 10 or 15 or 20 readings in the evening, I'm going to walk away and probably retain that one that I believe was meaningful. It doesn't mean the rest aren't, but somebody's always there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And when you connect to that, it's a pretty special feeling, like it's almost like the gotcha moment, and I hate to sound terrible, but for me, this is normal. Like this is an everyday deal. I tend to almost forget sometimes what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm out there, by the way, the world drops away. The people in the audience are my main focus, and that one person I'm talking to becomes very special to me for that time segment. So, and by the way, I'm seeing in my mind, this is not like there's dead people standing around the auditorium. Okay. That'd be fun, but it doesn't work that way. But it's almost like a daydream where I'm getting a whole visual of who, what, where, and when. Mm-hmm. It doesn't last. It'll dissipate at some point.
Yep.
And it connects to the person. If I was just in an empty room, I'm probably going to be wondering what's for lunch. But it works, But it's almost mission. Go ahead.
Bob,
I'm sorry.
I think we should leave people hanging just with that, don't you? Come Tuesday night and find out, what if anything, who's yelling the loudest in the room, or what if anything will be heard by Gary. I think it'd be fun.
Absolutely,
I like it.
Yeah.
But by the way, I do. If people want to know more, I do want to push them to the GaryMcKinstry.com website because my bio and events are on there also. So,
and we've had quite a few, not tons. I'd say 5 or 6 phone messages or emails from people. Sort of, I'm afraid to come, or I don't want to come. So to them, I think looking at your website and having never experienced this before, that might be helpful.
Well, the other thing is I'm far from anti-religious. Mm-hmm. No matter what your affiliate, I have a great belief that there is a supreme creator. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who, what, where? That's not my business. I just whether you're Christian, Buddhist, Protestant, Jewish, whatever, Orthodox, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Okay. And according to everything I pick up on the other side, they don't seem to care either. Good is good, bad is bad. So I've actually sent people back to their religions.
Wow.
Like maybe you should go explore. So, people are coming going, maybe it's anti-religious. Loved ones don't care. They don't give a poop what sect you're in or what denomination. They don't care.
So do you have a private practice? I mean, do people come to you like, because Tom was saying that people are afraid to go to an event? Would they show up with contact you personally?
When I get off the air, I'm going to have a quick cup of coffee, and I'm going to be pretty much on Zoom probably till it gets dark. Okay. I do have a private practice because of our physical location. We used to be in Dudley, Massachusetts, which is right on the Connecticut border. So I used to have a lot of clients come in person. Now we're a little more isolated, so it's mostly phone and Zoom. Mm-hmm. But I also come to Massachusetts once a month anyway for like 4 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a whole private clientele.
Gotcha.
And by the way, your listeners would be amazed at some of my clients. The other day, I had 3 ladies that actually came up physically. One was a theatrical musical singer. Her best friend was an oncology doctor. And the third lady was an alternative music DJ. So you never know who's going to be in the audience or who's going to show up. Rich man, poor man. So
Gotcha.
Well, I think we look forward to that, right, Bob? So we'll see.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, we'll see everybody next Tuesday, or depending upon when you're listening to this, January 9th, I should say. And Bob, we didn't have a chance, but we've done a podcast, so you guys could listen to that too. With Warehouse 635, that is the location in West Hartford where we're having it, and we're very excited about being there as well. So again, special thanks to our sponsor, NBT Bank. This podcast would not be possible without that, and we are looking forward to seeing all of you on the scene on January 9th with Gary. And Bob and I, and the team of WeHa at our Medium Psychic event in West Hartford. Please join us.
thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Scene.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.